and you suddenly see the horizon doesn't curve downwards away from your vision, it curves upwards into the sky. I don't want to overstate it, but it's kind of a magical feeling, and you think, I think I can go there. I think I can explore this place. And then of course, people start shooting at you.
The war's already raging. The game's not giving you much time to go like, hold on, who are the bad guys? Why are they attacking me? No, the war has happened for at least 20 years prior to the events of Halo, and those 20 years are being addressed in Halo Wars.
The Halo universe is kind of familiar to people. It's a classic science fiction story. It's, you know, it's aliens, it's Armageddon. This has a big epic feel to it.
They didn't just make a story. They made a whole world. They've definitely fleshed it out enough that, you know, there's characters, there's story, there's worlds. There's actually a whole universe that you're a part of.
There's all this cool kind of archaeology vibe going on with the Forerunner artifacts. There's all these really neat aliens that you haven't quite seen before.
We have 26th century human soldiers driving around in basically cars and shooting bullets. Makes it easy to recognize what's human and what's alien.
It's very well thought out. Everything is very realistic and it makes sense. The amount of content is much larger than what's actually seen in any of their games.
A good actor usually comes up with a backstory for their character, even though the audience will never know it.
If we have it buttoned up and if we believe it, then it's going to make for a more believable and more cohesive universe for the player.
It's huge, like the universe is so massive. But now that Halo Wars is out, it's almost like the story is just brand new.
If you're a huge Halo fan, you've probably read some of the books, the graphic novels.
The fact that Halo novels have been on the New York Times bestseller list is very surprising and very unusual.
It can't be taken lightly to just add a new story. Especially with Halo, there's so many fans that if there's some discrepancy, they're going to know it immediately, and everyone's going to know it.
In our case, you know, we're a prequel. How are we going to lead into the story that the people already know? How are we going to set the foundation that makes you go, oh yeah, so that's how this came about?
Often in Halo, you can look up and see a space battle going on around you, or evidence of a broader, larger conflict. In Halo Wars, you're controlling that larger conflict.
We pull back. You're 40 feet off the ground. You step back and really see this world. There's not just a one Master Chief going through.
Halo Wars is a strategy game. They're kind of abandoning the idea of having one main character, which means it's really about the universe and the fiction.
It's very, very daring, though I think it's also a very sensible approach because it does allow for a different storytelling technique.
It took us a little while to figure out how to do that in a way that felt like it was still Halo.
Halo Wars is set 20 years before the events of Halo 1, 5 years after war has broken out between the Covenant and UNSC.
This is telling the story of Harvest, which is where the humans first made contact with the Covenant.
In the Halo universe, the planet Harvest used to be the farm planet for the UNSC, you know, the humans in space. And then the Covenant show up and blow the hell out of it.
It's kind of a nuclear winter, it's kind of a husk. Well, okay, not really much left here, but there is something left there this time. There is something valuable on the planet's surface, and Spirit of Fire has been sent to investigate what that is. Okay, so we're at Harvest. The Spirit of Fire has arrived, and we've been told to reactivate Alpha Base. As we arrive on the map, though, bad things are happening.
The first battle in Halo Wars is set on Harvest, which is the location for Joe Staten's novel, Contact Harvest. It's famous in Halo lore for being at that meeting point of the two forces. But I think that looking at it as if it were real history is one of the things that helps it feel tightly mapped to the Halo FPS universe.
It's the start of the war between the UNSC and the Covenant.
One of the most compelling things about the Halo Wars story, certainly for hardcore fans, is going to be seeing Spartans in their prime.
Let's go.
Wow, we were a little bit more awesome back then when we had all these Spartans running around.
I've been playing as one Spartan for a long time. It's almost as if I can see a bunch of me's down there.
By the time that the events of Halo 1 happened, there's generally only one well-known Spartan alive, that's Master Chief.
People are familiar with Master Chief. They're sort of familiar with the idea he's the last Spartan. What they may not be familiar with is that the Spartans were originally designed not to fight the Covenant, but to control human populations and insurgencies in human colonies. It puts them in a very dark light.
A pretty important piece to the Halo backstory is being played out through this game.
Son, I have a feeling before this is over, we'll need every last Spartan in the fight.
I mean, if Halo was a painting, there'd be one chunk of it that's Master Chief's story from the trilogy of games that's very well filled in, but is It's a big canvas.
Does exist in this, fantastic universe where, humanity's at war with aliens.
If you don't relate to the characters and care about them, then you're not going to care about the context, you're not going to care about the universe and the weapons and the ships and everything.
Halo Wars is a strategy game. A lot of choices you can make in the gameplay. And what we really need to do to kind of balance that on the story side was have this cast of characters.
A group of characters is kind of like an analogy to the real-time strategy game, to many groups on the ground. So telling the story of a group of characters seemed like the way to go forward.
Just like the game itself, it's more of a bird's eye view. A sense of a larger story of what happened before the events of the original Halo.
Prep for pod launches, bring weapon systems online.
Expecting trouble, Captain?
We have Captain Cutter. He's your classic starship captain. We have the classic hothead, Sergeant Forge. He has this sort of tension-filled relationship with Professor Anders, the science chick.
Forge doesn't think it's safe for you to go down there yet.
I can take care of myself.
Serena always gets that last word in on the Bridge of the Spirit of Fire, and she's kind of funny and sarcastic. When I went out to the Japanese recording sessions, I asked her, so, is Serena still funny in Japanese? And the response was, yes, she's still a bitch.
Serena, get out of my lab.
If you don't have a history to the world and you don't have motivations for these characters, in the long run, people won't remember it.
You need those human characters that you can relate to. But on the other side, you've got to have a bad guy.
The Covenant has a religion, and they have a structure, and they have a society.
The Covenant is a fractious society. It's made up of a number of species. They don't all get along, but it makes the political makeup of the universe interesting.
The war with the humans will require a great deal many more machines than we can currently muster.
I will take what we have.
If you've played through the Halo games before, you know the Arbiter. That's not our Arbiter. Our Arbiter is a mean guy. He's Darth Vader times 10.
Like the rest of your race, weak and undisciplined.
In our game, we wanted a good guy, bad guy thing, and the Covenant, for the most part, are kind of evil. But it's a chance to kind of go see how they live too, right? Really tried to play up the Halo fiction.
Arbiter, ready to kill.
I love the Arbiter. He has probably one of the coolest abilities I think that's ever been in a strategy game. He has his rage ability. Bam! That's pretty satisfying.
Where the hell are we, Serena?
Actually, I'm still working on that, sir.
When the Flood shows up, it's utter chaos. It, in some ways, stops this war and gives both parties something much, much bigger to worry about.
The Flood isn't really even an alien. It's something so completely alien to us that even the aliens look normal. They do have their own society, and it's just so different that we can't see it.
Many different people have a different feel for what the Flood is, but certainly it has a lot of the characteristics of virus and zombies at the same time.
They slowly infect you and you become them.
Its sole purpose is to literally consume everything in its path.
The flamethrowers are very good against the Flood, but infantry will be taken over by the Flood and turned against you. So taking in units which can be turned against you is generally not a good strategy to have with the Flood. I've got a whole bunch of Flood chasing me. So I actually lost my units there, and now I'm having to use my own flamethrowers to take out my own guys. They know each other. They had breakfast together. Those guys are torn.
One of the neatest things about the Halo universe is that it doesn't answer all the questions in a very easy way. Who are the Forerunners? Why are the Flood there? Who really is the ultimate bad guy here?
I think the thing which is always in the background of everything in Halo, and in Halo Wars in particular, is the Forerunner technology.
The thing that attracts me to the Halo universe is this kind of sense of awe and mystery with almost mystical overtones. You don't really know what the Forerunners were or what they are.
The Forerunners disappeared over 100,000 years ago, but they still have a huge impact on the actual universe today.
Now that's not what I expected.
It's that sense of time and all those questions of what happened so long ago that really give the scope to all the Halo games.
Halo Wars is a tough sell because it's a real-time strategy game on a console. This genre of game was made for a keyboard and mouse. It was made so you could have hotkeys, groups of units, and send them into battle strategically.
Take all of these guys and just watch them destroy people. There's a lot of fun of the RTS that console players have not gotten to experience.
Bringing that to a controller with a limited number of buttons is not an easy thing to do.
We wanted something that was inviting and very easy to play, so that's where the rule of 8 came from. I get this nice attractive looking menu. There's at most 8 things there, the rule of 8. We ended up with cooler, more individualized units because, to be honest, we couldn't have that many.
This opportunity to do it on the console is a way to sort of reevaluate what is key, what is core to a real-time strategy game that isn't through 30 keys on the keyboard, but a handful of buttons on the controller.
Halo's it is the best game ever made. I love military strategy, so both in one is just, it's almost too good.
Everyone that we've showed it to them, when they reach the end of the first game, the first thing they ask is if they can play again.
I think my girl's gonna break up with me, because I'm not gonna stop playing it.
If Halo is cool, it's cool because it's full of cool stuff that people want to use and play with and destroy and blow up and shoot. It is a universe full of things to play with.
Halo has a really distinct visual style to it. There's a distinct visual style to the Covenant versus the Space Marines and their vehicles. Even some of the different classes of aliens and classes of soldiers.
This is a way to look at all those other cool machines, all that other cool technology, those other aspects of the Halo universe.
Having the opportunity to add to a universe like Halo is exciting.
We start with the core of what was from Halo. What's going to be recognizable? I see Spartans, I see a Warthog, I see a Scorpion tank. And those are all iconic things that everybody loves.
The Banshees, the Ghosts, these are all things that people can recognize at a glance, even recognize the audio of those things.
Hey, hold on, I know that sound. I've heard that sound before. It almost makes you appreciate how much of this series we've just sort of subsumed into our subconscious.
But to create an RTS, we needed a little bit more depth.
It's an RTS, so it needs a lot of units, it needs a lot of vehicles and weapons, and they just invented some really beautiful things in that space and made sure that they fit UNSC architectural guidelines, as it were, and made sure that mapped to Covenant aesthetics, and just created some really awesome new stuff that will be used elsewhere in the universe. Every time we add, we embrace, and you'll see it pop up in other places.
The fact that we can go on Xbox Live to play other people, that is going to be ridiculous.
You have to think a little more strategically. It's not as clear-cut as playing Halo as a first-person shooter, because, if you see them, shoot them.
In Halo, you're typically only seeing 10 problems ahead of you. In Halo Wars, you can see them by the 100.
We have to have a lot of depth in there. It can't just be, oh, I build my 3 Spartans and it's game over. There has to be a counter to that, and there has to be a counter to that counter.
As you play it, I think that the layers of the onion get peeled back, and the subtleties of the strategy that we've built in there become more apparent.
Like, you can tell that this game can be very competitive. It can get hard at a competitive level, and that's the good thing.
Like chess, if you win, it's all you. If you lose, you're not as smart as the other guy.
A game is a series of interesting decisions, and a strategy game is, I think, the perfect embodiment of that.
With any kind of universe as big as Halo, the sky's the limit of how far it could actually go.
If you have that much scale to work in with your fiction, this huge, wondrously magical universe that's laid out in front of you, and a great 100,000-year-old mystery, then you literally have infinite stories to tell.
Serena, situation update, please.
Getting visuals now, Captain.
When you play the original Halo games, an explosion takes up the whole screen. So I'm going to kill a fast-moving purple thing, and it will come at me and die. In Halo Wars, it's going to be a view from 40 feet up, so it's not going to be one explosion, it's going to be 20.
One of the things we wanted to do with Halo Wars was tell the Halo story, show the Halo universe in a different way, and actually bring strategy gaming to the console.
In Halo Wars, you get to control everything. All the grunts and elites and brutes and choppers and ghosts and banshees and all these really cool vehicles, plus a lot of the stuff we've added. Control heroes, you get to control Spartans, you get to control small armies of Spartans. Everything is under your control in a real-time strategy.
We wanted something that the fans could see the things that they know and love from a different perspective. Spartan jacking is one of the best things in the game. They jump on top of the enemy tanks and they beat the crap out of the tank, they rip off the hatch, they toss out the driver, they hop inside, and then they take over that vehicle. And people are used to seeing that from a first-person shooter standpoint, where everything's very large. But we have all that same detail in Halo Wars.
Some of the battles in the game are small, and some of the battles in the game are really big. What's cool about that, at least in the campaign, is that's based on how you play. If you spend more time going to fight the Covenant, you may be dealing with a larger force than if you would have gotten there quicker.
And you get those choices, which is again the hallmark of a strategy game. How do I want to build my army out? And by the end, you've got 12 or 15 Scorpion tanks rolling across the landscape, or you could have 40 or 50 Marines. And it's really kind of your choice. But it is a game more focused about combat, which is certainly what the Halo fans will expect. People want to blow stuff up, myself included. It's a console game. Stuff blows up really, really well in Halo Wars, but it is also a game where you have to think.
The new part of this game is, for a lot of people, is actually playing an RTS. In the FPS games, you're just using one single weapon and one single tactic. In our game, you actually have to employ multiple strategies on the screen at the same time.
You're the general, training units and using those units to accomplish the mission. Commanding your armies, you're commanding your resource gathering or your economy.
You manage resources, which you buy that army with, and you actually use those resources to upgrade and change your army to form a strategy that you will hopefully win with.
There's a lot of different definitions for armies, right? There's like a teched out army, which is maybe not as big an army, but you've spent a lot more of your resources on technologies and things like that, so it's a very powerful army.
And it actually kind of maps into Halo Wars really well because in our game, the UNSC, the humans, they're the regimented army. But the Covenant, the sort of religious zealots, they can bring a lot more units to the fight, but each of those units is a little bit weaker. Halo Wars is a game about bases. It's a strategy game. I have to have a good base of operations, otherwise I can't field a very good army.
You start with just one unit or a base, and by the end of the game, you've got an army of 240 infantry or 5 Scorpion tanks. Or choose to upgrade them and make your current Scorpions even better. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that.
I'm actually very happy with the way we've been able to represent all the economic decisions in Halo Wars. They're faster, it's easier to do. I'm not managing 75 villagers chopping down trees, but the depth is still there.
We didn't want people digging in the dirt. We felt that was not what a console player really wanted to do. We wanted the focus to be on combat.
It's quick, it's easy to play, but it's very simple. I bounce back to my town, I get the supply pad upgrade, I'm back to the fight.
It's just that long scale look at the actual war. It's not one v many, it's many v many.
It's a fast-paced game. It's an adrenaline rush from the word go, but it has that strategy aspect to it that people haven't seen in the Halo universe before.
Always our biggest concern was making sure that we had the Halo vibe down.
The lore is really deep and rich. It has a lot of units that we can play with, which is great for a strategy game.
We found the Covenant to be pretty full. They generally had a good array of vehicles that you could already fight. When we looked at the UNSC, they had Master Chief.
If people have played the Halo shooter games, they're familiar with Master Chief. But in a strategy game, it's about multiple units.
So we actually had to fill in quite a little bit for the UNSC in order to make them feel like a complete army.
Halo Wars is the next Halo game, but it's a prequel. So from a game design standpoint, it was challenging to go back and create units that felt technologically in the milieu of what somebody would have had 20 years earlier. So one of the best examples we have is the Cyclops.
The Cyclops is this new unit that we added. He's almost like a big giant robot. It's a cool unit because he can repair other stuff and he throws things on the battlefield. He can pick up stuff and throw it.
It's very clunky. 20 years before Halo 1, this thing was awesome. It was very cool. It could rip chunks off of vehicles and all that, but it was too bulky, too unwieldy, and so eventually it was abandoned in favor of the Spartan armor.
definite feeling when the Spartans show up for the first time in the campaign. We're like, wow, this is when Spartans were Spartans and not just Master Chief.
If you're familiar with the lore, you know that back 20 years before the start of Halo 1, there were lots of Spartans running around.
You hear stories about why Spartans are cool and how there used to be more, but he's really like this relic of awesomeness. It'd be like if Batman was here now and you heard stories about there used to be 20 Batmans and that was when they could really kick ass.
So we get a chance to finally let you play with multiple Spartans. They're great in combat, they can steal enemy vehicles, they can get inside my vehicles and make my vehicles better. We call them the Kingmaker unit.
Most of the units in Halo Wars have a special ability. It works the same for everybody. You just select them, you hit Y. Pretty sure everybody's going to be real excited about the Warthog Y ability, which is ramming into piles of grunts with a Warthog. It's about as good as it gets.
One of the new units we've added that I think is pretty kick-ass is the Locust on the Covenant side. It's basically a building killer. It's almost like a smaller version of a Scarab. You know, when that comes and there's 4 of them on your base, you kind of freak out because, you know, they can take buildings down pretty quick.
Probably my favorite unit in Halo Wars is the Scarab. I mean, it's just such an evil device that the Covenant use. I mean, it's got a big laser beam that fires out, and as it destroys infantry, they scream and burn to death, and it truly feels evil to use it.
They're hard to get to, but once you get them, they're really unbelievably strong. They can take out entire armies and stuff like that.
There is nothing better than shooting a large laser beam at the infantry and hearing them scream and die. If you're going to be evil, you're going to make a Scarab, and it's going to be awesome. Those things are just made for killing.
From the UNSC aspect, you have these god powers that appear to come from the Spirit of Fire, which is hovering above the whole time, and you can call on its help whenever you have the resources to do it.
Like a carpet bombing run, or use the mech cannon to actually blast an area from space. The cryo bomb is another UNSC option that actually freezes units for just a little bit. And it perhaps gives you a chance to take out something very big like a Scarab.
Gameplay-wise, that's really cool because the carpet bomb is kind of like a big old grenade. It does damage to everything. The Mac Blast is kind of like a little sniper shot.
Both sides actually use different ways of turning the tide of a battle. The humans can call upon Spirit of Fire. The Covenant, though, actually have their hero units on the ground.
They're actually individually the best units in the game. The Covenant are led by these charismatic guys, these religious zealots.
Blasphemy!
They have the Prophet of Regret, the Brute Chieftain, or the Arbiter.
The Prophet of Regret can call down this cleansing beam, which is actually what the Covenant armies used to glass planets into oblivion. You can chase that pesky little Spartan around the map with this beam of destruction.
The fully upgraded Arbiter has a power called Rage.
I'll tear them apart.
He can take out an entire UNSC army just by himself. If you talk to anyone technical about an RTS game, they will tell you all about rock, paper, scissors.
Vehicles beat infantry, infantry beat aircraft, and aircraft beat vehicles.
But as soon as you start seeing rock, paper, scissors, all you're seeing in the game is the Matrix. You might as well just have numbers on screen. One of the things we worked incredibly hard on was making the units in Halo was just super cool.
We want it to be something that we love. Make a robust strategy game, which we know how to do, but we also have to make something that feels very much like it's in the fiction of what Halo fans would expect. One of the hardest genres on the console to sort of crack has been strategy games.
People were making games that both ran on the PC and ran on a console. They weren't taking advantage of the controller, they weren't taking advantage of the screen, the television.
All right, we're gonna rework this, and we're not gonna build a game that can work on both, and we're not gonna do that. We're building a game for the console, and we said, let's start from the beginning.
We took it up to Microsoft and talked with them, and really I think came to the mutual conclusion that the right thing for this game was to marry our gameplay with a universe that people understood already.
When we were told that Halo was was available, we had to learn a lot more about the Halo universe.
Who doesn't want to work with the Halo franchise? And taking those characters, that world, and putting our gameplay with it was sort of a perfect marriage.
During that time, we found out that Halo itself started out as an RTS game, which of course was kind of interesting.
I want to feel in every game like I can invest myself in that world somehow.
We realized very early on that the one thing we had to get right was the controls.
One of the biggest concerns I know that's out there on the internet is, well, how can a strategy game exist without a mouse and a keyboard?
We're going to have to figure out a way to get the same gameplay on a console controller. And I think we've done that in Halo Wars.
One common thread is each time we went back and sort of rethought about controls, they got simpler.
What are the basic fundamentals that are fun about RTS? How do we have to control them? How do we use our controller to control them?
I wanted one button to do one thing. Whereas before, you look at a console strategy game, as well, if you press this button here with the trigger pulled, pull the other trigger at the same time, and press these two buttons, it's just too much.
A lot of things came out of that. The circle menu came out of that.
The circle menu that we use in Halo Wars is one of the things that I think really stands out in the game. It uses what we call the rule of 8.
If you click on a building, you see the circle menu pop up, and there's 8 choices there that you can pick from. And
being, the 12 o'clock versus the 3 o'clock, and the sort of in between the 1 and 2, and all the way around.
It was really simple to press A, push the left stick, and press A again. You could do things just as fast as you could on a PC.
After you start to play, you'll realize that your thumbs just do the right thing. They kind of go where you would expect them to go.
I think when you have the previous Halo games out there, and you've got such a huge fan base of Halo fans anxious to see what you do next, it's such a huge bar for you to have to meet and their expectations and exceed their expectations.
Patience is not infinite.
We have to live up to the Halo franchise and the expectations people have. So they expect to get a great story out of Halo, and I'm certainly a little biased, but I think the way that we told our Halo story is going to help set a bar back on Halo itself to tell their stories even better next time.
These guys just don't know when to quit.
The way that strategy gamers, who know enough about the origins of the genre, they go back and talk about Dune 2 and the early Warcraft games, and I hope in 10 years people are talking about Halo Wars in the same way.
Backgrounds depleted.
Spirit Forge! We're gonna need a little backup.
Because everything's just blowing up, dying on fire.
Reverberating out from the center, and stuff's exploding.
They're strafing all my guys, and my grunts are running for cover the way grunts do.
And elites and brutes and all these things together.
The second you pick it up, you'll be drawn into it.
It's just phenomenal.
That was cool.
When we started Halo Wars, I think it took us a while to get into the mindset of less is more.
The simple controls and simple gameplay is actually just what people want and what's more fun anyway, so we always pull back towards that.
We kept to the core fun of an RTS and tried to let the fluff and the extra accounting and meters and all that go away.
We're pretty hardcore gamers ourselves, so we just tear things apart. Controls and gameplay, we tear it apart to the point where in the end, we want to make sure that we really think that it's the best game for the players in the end.
The civilians have no cover. They're dead without military support.
There are a lot of ways to play this game. The way we expect people to play the game first is the campaign.
In the multiplayer, you play a single leader. You play one of 3 UNSC leaders or one of 3 Covenant leaders, and that dictates your technology tree, and that dictates what upgrades and units you can get. In the campaign, it's much freer because you're playing, as the whole of UNSC, so it's more mix and match.
But then they can also play skirmish. So this is kind of our repeatable game.
You can have Covenant and human on the same team, playing against two Covenant. You can have human versus human. You can have Covenant versus Covenant.
You and I can go online, we can grab a buddy, we can play 3-on-3 against AIs. One guy can go econ and he can actually give money to the other people and they can build the military units and he can kind of sit back and just manage the economy and defend the bases. It's cool to have that option.
They want that interaction of building up their armies with my friend is sort of my ally and he's doing it as well and I protect him, he protects me, and then we go out and destroy the, fight the world, take on the world together.
I think Halo was, if I was to sum it up into 2 words, would be epic experience. And you get that when you play in the campaign mode, and you get that when you play online.
Halo Wars is a game where there's a lot of different strategies and tactics that people can choose to employ.
Yes, standard tactics are your rush, your boom, and sort of your turtle, which is sort of the in-between build defenses to hold off a rush, but yet don't boom up your economy quite as much as a pure boom that leaves itself undefended.
The balance of a strategy game is how good this unit might be against another unit, and usually people talk about the rock, paper, scissors balance relationship. You don't want one strategy that will always beat everything, because then there's not much strategy to the game.
I like to rush other people. I'll tend to play Captain Cutter, and I'll build an elephant. I'll just start churning out infantry, and I'll be in your base attacking you within like 30-40 seconds. I'll absolutely crush you and wipe you from the map.
The one I like is the dual scarab strategy for the Covenant. You can only have one of them with your default population limit. You have to actually go get a technology to increase your army size to actually get 2. But you take 2 Covenant scarabs, you can train some engineers, which are the Covenant units that heal other units. You train 10 of those, 2 scarabs, and your Covenant leader, and you're driving around this destructive beam of light, just incinerating everything. It's throwing out hot lava and all that, and that's a good time.
Whenever you think you know the strategy that beats all, somebody comes up with something else to beat it.